are singing this very deep devotional prayer by Srila Basu Ghosh, one of the personal associates and favorite kirtan singers of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. If Lord Gaur had not appeared as the Yuga Avatar in this age of Kali, then what would have become of us? How could we have tolerated living? Who in this universe would have ever learned about the topmost limits of the loving mellows that comprise the glory of Radha? Who would have had the power to render ecstatic devotional service that follows in the footsteps of the damsels of Braj? Indeed, the clever expertise of the Braj Gopis is a prerequisite for entering the supremely sweet forest of Brinda Devi. Oh, please sing again and again the glorious qualities of Lord Gauranga. Just try to keep your heart simple. Not even one person within this ocean of nescience has ever seen such a magnanimous personality as he. Even though I chant the holy name of Lord Gauranga, somehow I still have not melted in ecstasy. How then have I maintained the burden of this body? How has the Creator fashioned this body with a stone in place of Basu Ghosh's heart? Yesterday in the morning, by the inspiration of His Holiness Barsana Swami Maharaj, we discussed Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu as the Avatari, the source of all incarnations of the Lord, and He who possesses all the potencies of all the avatars. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna who have appeared in one form. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami reveals, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikratir Hladini Shakti Rashmat Ekat Manamapi Bhuvibhavade Habidam Gatau Tao Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adanathadvayam Chaitamakyam Radha Bhavaduti Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. The Absolute Truth is one, the source of all that exists, Him from whom everything emanates, all material and spiritual worlds. But that one truth, which is the source of all living, expands Himself into two, eternally, without beginning or end, for the very purpose of the Absolute Truth's existence. Rasovai Saha. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. His ultimate pastime in this spiritual world is simply to enjoy. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, we have that eternal longing for enjoyment. Every living being is seeking pleasure, because Krishna is always seeking pleasure. But the difference between Krishna and ourselves is in this conditioned state of material existence because we identify with a temporary body and a temporary mind, and we're trying to find pleasure through temporary objects. We are continuously frustrated. All attempts for happiness in this material world inevitably must bring pain. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Krishna has proclaimed this truth that we must take very seriously. This material world is a place of suffering. Birth, old age, disease, and death. And even when we get what we want, it's like a foaming bubble on the surface of the sea. All of our pleasures, all of our attachments, all of the objects of our love just burst into oblivion, as does our own bodily identity. But Krishna, he is the controller of Maya. He never falls under the influence of his own external potency. He is the master of all masters. There is no impediment to his enjoyment. In this material world, the Purusha avatars perform the work of creation, and the various functions of the universe are deputed to the demigods. But Krishna, as Rasaraj, is simply enjoying. There is that famous story that is often cited of a German scholar who searched all over India to understand who really is the highest God. And when he met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and heard from him, he understood that all the deities I see are working. Durga, she has so many weapons in her hand. She's on a lion doing her work. And Shiva's in meditation. Meditation is tapasya, it's work. And Kartikeya has his spear, and Hanumanji has his club. Ramchandra has his bow and arrow. But Krishna, he's simply playing his flute, enjoying. Therefore, he must be supreme. He must be supreme even in the world of gods. And it is true. As Maharaj was explaining yesterday, Shyam Sundar, when he's in Vrindavan, is simply at home. No formalities. Everything is intimate in love. When a king is in his court, everyone bows down and he performs his service to the kingdom. But when he's at home, with wife, with children, with intimate friends, he enjoys the deepest satisfaction. Vrindavan is the supreme, highest realm, which is Krishna's most pleasurable home. And he expands himself eternally as his own Hladini Shakti, who supplies ultimate pleasure for him. For the sake of love, Radha and Krishna are eternally performing their pastimes. And factually, that love between Sri Radha and Gopinath is the supreme and only reality. Everything else is an illusion. In the spiritual world, the love of Radha and Krishna is all that exists. In other planets and Vaikunthas, it manifests as the love between Sita and Ram. It also manifests in part and parcel form between Krishna and his devotees. But the fact is, the only reality is divine love. Everything else is either a perverted reflection or illusory. Radha and Krishna have again become one, Swarup Damodar Goswami prays, in the form of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And he has come with the complexion and the devotional sentiments of Srimati Radharani. But not only that, he has come to distribute that love of Sri Radha and the gopis of Vrindavan to the world indiscriminately. Factually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give what no other incarnation has ever given. Therefore, he is the most magnanimous, most merciful to the most fallen. Narottam Das Thakur prayed, Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar. Of all avatars, you are the most merciful to the most fallen. And that is a fact. To give the highest revelations of the spiritual world to the lowest people of Kali Yuga is something that can never be understood and appreciated by anyone's mind in full. Giving the highest thing to the lowest people, at the lowest time, freely. That is Lord Chaitanya. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, he immediately wanted to go to Vrindavan. That beautiful story we know. In Katwa, Keshav Bharati Maharaj he didn't know what to do, because here is this beautiful 24-year-old personality who's at the prime of his youth, with the most loving mother and helpless wife, and he's left them all to take sannyas. And the entire village of Katwa were outraged by this. They could not tolerate the thought of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Gauranga's hair to be cut, and Sachi Mata to die in separation, and Vishnu Priya, not even 16 years old, to be a widow for the rest of her life. Impossible. They threatened Keshav Bharati, we will destroy your ashram, you cannot do this. What to do? Keshav Bharati told Sri Gauranga that I cannot give you sannyas unless you get permission from your mother. So he started running back to Navadvip. Keshav Bharati Maharaj called him back. He said, you can do anything. You can do anything. I should not bother you going all the way back and forth. And there was that most fateful, historical Leela of the hair-cutting ceremony. The barber himself, how was it possible? Seeing the beautiful silken hair of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was the most beautiful thing on all of earth. But it was different than anything beautiful that we see with these material eyes. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty and his flowing hair was a beauty that we considered our own. If you see somebody beautiful, it's their beauty. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty awakened love in people's heart. And in love, when there is a reciprocation of love, there is a conception of a possessiveness. Yes? By cutting Lord Chaitanya's hair, you're cutting your own heart. The thing that everyone there was most attached to in the entire creation was about to be destroyed before their eyes. It just wasn't he was beautiful and you're making him not so nice. No. Were so attached with such deep love. Their identity, everyone there, their identity was intimately intertwined with Lord Chaitanya's beauty because of their love for him and his love for them. Therefore, cutting that hair was worse than death. It was more painful than any pain. Because there is no greater pain in this creation than a broken heart. People can survive terrible pain of disease, but when there's broken heart, there's just nothing you can do about it. People commit suicide. They can't live with it. They go into utter depression. There's just nothing you can do. It's just a pain that's all pervasive, 24 hours a day. That's what broken heart is about. And we're talking about broken heart for a perverted reflection, understanding of an infinitesimal little jiva. And we see how it affects people. But when the supreme, all-pervading object of everyone's love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he captures your heart and when he breaks your heart, it is crushed to pieces. And this is what we're talking about during that hair-cutting ceremony. It wasn't just a few people rolling around because they didn't like the aesthetic shaved head of Lord Chaitanya. With every hair that was cut, that scissors was cutting in two everyone's hearts, and then in four, and then in six. With every hair that was cut, it was just cutting the heart into another division. Tens and thousands, millions of divisions the heart is being cut into. Tiny pieces. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the process of doing this, simply increased everyone's love. And that was his purpose of incarnating in this world, to awaken the ecstasies of love of God, and especially the ecstasies of love and separation. And this type of separation, there's one type of separation where the Lord is about to go. Then there's another type of separation after he leaves. But the most intensely painful type of separation is the separation of while he's leaving. When the gopis heard that Akrura was going to take Krishna away, they were immersed in deep separation. But then, that is called bhavi viraha. But when Krishna was taken away by Akrura, then every day they were just praying and hoping that he would return. That's the only thing that kept them alive, is he gave his promise, and they were expecting that he would return. But the most intensified manifestation of that separation was as Akrura was taking Krishna on the chariot. They were seeing their beloved in the process of leaving them. They were casting their bodies in front of the wheels of the chariot with the prayer that if Krishna must leave, take our life first. Put us out of misery before you take him away. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his hair was being cut, Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda Dutt, Chandrasekhar Acharya, these devotees and all the people of Katwa, they were just falling unconscious with every hair that fell to the ground. Screaming, wailing, crying. It was the most piteous scene. And then Lord Chaitanya took his bath in Ganga. And he was blissful. He was so happy. When the people were trying to stop him and making all threats, he just did kirtan in such a way and danced and intoxicated them so much that when he finally sat down and told the barber, cut my hair, everyone was too much in this kirtan ras to be able to stop him. And the barber took a vow. He would never cut another hair in his life. But because he cut Lord Chaitanya's hair on Lord Chaitanya's order, his hand became so sweet that he became the world's foremost sweet maker. And he opened up a sweet shop. He's the only sweet maker that we still talk about 500 years ago. That was the quality of his sweets. After the bath, they sat under that tree, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said to Keshav Bharati, is this the mantra you want to give me? And whispered it in his ear. And Keshav Bharati Maharaj said, this is very good mantra. And then he gave the same mantra back to him, the Sannyas mantra of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is the supreme renunciation Lord Chaitanya revealed. That sannyas means renunciation, and the ultimate renunciation is to follow in the footsteps of the gopis. Because their renunciation is unparalleled. They relinquished all motivations for either material or spiritual gain. Everything was only for the pleasure of Krishna. And the intensity of their desire to please Krishna is all-inclusive. All other rasas, Vatsalya ras, Sakya ras, Dasya ras, Shanta ras, all the rasas are fully manifested and included within the gopis, but with an intimacy that is far beyond. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas very much fulfilled both his external reasons and internal reasons for coming to this world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in one beautiful song, he sings how we are all like fish in the ocean. And we're caught in the net of Maya. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw that we were all like fish in the ocean of birth and death, and the net of his mercy was trying to capture everyone. And in Sri Navadvip Dham, he captured almost everyone through the net of his Harinam Sankirtan movement and his beauty and charm. But there were those who were proud of their high birth, proud of their knowledge and education, proud of their abilities. And it is a universal truth that devotion cannot sit in the heart that is filled with pride. Humility is the prerequisite for real devotion. If there is not genuine humility, whatever devotion is there is still superficial. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to reach to the people who were too proud to accept his mercy, His Holiness Barsana Maharaj was describing so beautifully yesterday how the students of Navadvip, who were high Brahmins, they were attacking Lord Caitanya. They were blaspheming him. They were even threatening. If he does anything else to the Brahmin class, we will retaliate. Now, who's going to hurt Lord Caitanya? In this regard, I'll revert back a little, just to show who is Lord Caitanya. One day in Srivasangam, there was kirtan going on. And Advaitacharya, he entered into the mood of the gopis. This is Mahaprabhu. We usually think of Lord Advaitacharya as Mahavishnu or Sadashiva, the original form of Shiva in the spiritual world, and the original Purusha, Karonadakshayi Vishnu. But in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, Sri Advaita is in the mood of gopis. And we should understand this carefully, that these are the eternal associates of Lord Chaitanya. It's not that Advaita is a plenary portion, is a incarnation of Mahavishnu. From one point of view, from this world, he is. But from the point of view, the perception of the spiritual world, Advaitacharya is the eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's abode is in Krishna Loka, the highest planet of the spiritual sky. Krishna Loka is divided into Mathura, Dwarka, and Vrindavan, and also Navadvip. Navadvip in the spiritual world is non-different than Vrindavan. Therefore, Lochandas Thakur poses this argument. Is Lord Chaitanya the source of Krishna, or is Krishna the source of Lord Chaitanya? Now, usually we say that Krishna is the source of Lord Chaitanya, because from the point of view of looking up, he is. But they're both eternally existing. It's not that at one time in the spiritual world, Krishna becomes Lord Chaitanya. He's eternally existing in this way. This is the inconceivable, unfathomable nature of the abode of the Lord. The material mind, conditioned by geographical limitations and seeing everything in terms of time and clocks and calendars, we can't fathom what actually eternality really means. No beginning, no end, an eternal present. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his associates are in Krishna Loka, performing their leelas. And Advaitacharya is one of the most dear, intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya, performing the Braj Leela in Navadvip. So actually, Mahavishnu and Sadashiva are expansions of Advaita. And similarly, Haridas Thakur. From the point of view of this world, we say he's an incarnation of Lord Brahma, because we know the story from Navadvip Mahatmya. Lord Brahma stole the calves and the little cowherd boys for 1 year, by earthly calculation, just to see who is this Gopal who killed Agasura so effortlessly. And who is this Gopal who first he kills the massive Asura Aga, who even the demigods were petrified in fear of. And I see him with these little cowherd boys, ordinary looking little cowherd boys, just playing and speaking all cowherd jokes. And Krishna's taking food right from their mouth and eating it. He's Yagyabhuk. Brahma couldn't understand. He had to test him. But then after he tested him, Krishna When he manifested himself as all the gopas and all the gaffs, Brahma realized that I am the greatest father and controller within this universe. And I thought I was good. I thought I was something great. But when a firefly is in darkness, he thinks he's illuminating all directions. But when the sun rises, the firefly realizes, I am insignificant. That was Brahma's realization. And he surrendered to Krishna. And he performed tapasya. He performed tapasya because he wanted to give up this big creator role and just wanted to be a humble devotee. He performed his tapasya in Navadvip. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him and revealed that in your next, I am going to come into this world for a very secret purpose. I am Krishna, but I want to taste the sweetness of Radharani's love, and I want to distribute that love to the world through Harinam Kirtan. And you will be born in a family of malechas as Haridas Thakur and constantly be absorbed with all humility in chanting the names and assisting me in my mission. So he's an incarnation of Brahma. But in Sri Navadvip Dham, he's also an eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya, experiencing Braj Ras with Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip Dham in Krishna Loka. The kirtans in Srivas Thakur were none different than the Ras Leela. So actually, Haridas Thakur, eternal associate. And he simply happened to come as this particular Lord Brahma for this purpose of revealing his eternal form as Haridas Thakur. Brahma is just a temporary form. There's no Brahmas in Vaikuntha. But Haridas Thakur is living forever in Navadvip. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his taking sannyas was to fulfill this purpose of reaching out to the people who were so proud that they escaped the net of his mercy. And such an act of compassion. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would be on the verge of tears when he would speak about this. Who could leave such a loving mother as Sachi Devi? Now for us, it wasn't so difficult to leave our mothers with all the love we have for them. But if Sachi Devi's your mother, Sachi Devi, Varsana Maharaj revealed yesterday, she was just not an ordinary woman. Lord Chaitanya revealed the truth to her that she forgot due to her Yogamaya potency. She was Prishni, the mother of Prishnigarbha. She was Aditi, the mother of Vamanadev. She was Devaki and Yashoda, the mother of Krishna. She's the eternal mother of the Lord, Yashoda, in the spiritual world. She's the ultimate, complete whole of Vatsalya Ras. Just as Srimati Radharani is the summum bonum of conjugal ras, Yashoda Mai is the summum bonum of Vatsalya Ras. All Vatsalya Ras is ultimately emanating from her. How to give up such a mother who's helpless, who's going to be brokenhearted? And Vishnu Priya was goddess of fortune, more beautiful than anyone in the entire universe, and so pleasing. Vishnu Priya, her life was a total sacrifice of service for the pleasure of Gauranga. She had no other thought ever in her heart except what will please Vishwambar. Nothing else. Can you imagine having a wife like that? Never disobedient? Never do anything except please you and serve you? Advaitacharya was dancing in the mood of a gopi in separation from Krishna. He was rolling and rolling and rolling in the courtyard like anything. And he was weeping and crying for 3 hours. And Srivas Thakur and the others somehow or other made him composed. And after he sat quietly, they went to take bath in Ganga. And while they were in Ganga, again Advaitacharya entered into the mood of gopis and started rolling on the ground crying. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in his own house, the house of Sachi Devi. But he understood Advaita's heart. Because the Lord, wherever He is, He knows the heart of His devotee. So He came to Srivasangam. And He took Advaita by the hand and brought him into the temple room. And he asked Sri Advaita Prabhu, "What benediction can I give you?" And Sri Advaita Prabhu, with folded hands, tears in his eyes, he prayed, "You have fulfilled my every desire. You have descended into this world to give your mercy to the fallen souls. And now you are standing before me. My only desire is please accept me as your servant eternally. That's all. I have no other desire." Lord Chaitanya said, "I have already given you that benediction. Ask for something else." So Advaitacharya revealed his heart. What Arjuna saw while sitting in his chariot in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, please let me see that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. Suddenly, Advaitacharya saw himself sitting on a chariot. And then he saw 2 massive armies of millions of soldiers fighting with one another. He was looking around at this. And then he saw the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has manifested his 4-armed form. And then he saw Lord Chaitanya manifest Virat Rupa, the universal form. He saw in the body of the Lord the sun and the moon and all the Himalayan mountains, and he saw all the oceans of the whole world. He saw unlimited heads, unlimited hands, unlimited mouths. And what Advaita saw was something very instructive. He saw all those who blaspheme Vaishnavas being devoured by those flaming mouths. Hare Krishna. Sri Advaitacharya was in great awe and reverence. With folded hands, he started offering prayers to the Virat Rupa. And just at that time, Nityananda Prabhu was roaming throughout Navadvip. And because Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya, although they are 2 bodies, their heart is like one. That is the intimacy of their love. So Nityananda Prabhu was thinking in his mind that just at this moment, Lord Chaitanya is showing his Virat Rupa to Advaita Prabhu, I'm going. So he came, but the doors were locked. So he knocked out. He didn't even knock. He just came and stood at the door. And Lord Chaitanya opened the door and said, "Please come in." And Nityananda Prabhu came in, stood next to Advaita Prabhu, and there was the universal form. Devouring unlimited mouths devouring unlimited blasphemers. Unlimited hands, unlimited legs, unbelievable form. They were in ecstasy, offering their prayers. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he was dancing as the universal form was manifested. He was dancing in kirtan in ecstasy.